I mean, it's been good. Interesting thing is that Greenhouse has been there from the very beginning. Like one of the investors that we started founder will definitely have. Just supporting us in the growth of Kebo has been very instrumental towards that side. So yeah, I think I would personally describe Greenhouse as like a family. Beyond just a team, Bumi, Sam, Ruby are people that you can call on and even talk about, intimate things within the business, right? And they will definitely be there to respond, having to just build that sort of relationship is what we're about being as that. You're not calling them and they are busy people, but they still get time to respond to you. And they don't make it look like they don't make it look like they're busy with it, and they don't do that. Like they definitely talk to you, help you. So it's one of the things that I really like value. Being a portfolio or doing us the relationship that made it to you and instrumental to what I'm doing. Yes, we literally met Greenhouse physically through Greenhouse Lab in 2021. That was where the whole journey started with Greenhouse. After participating in the Greenhouse Lab Accelerator program. So we got a couple of companies here and let's let's rebrand this product. Let's make the product much better. And at that time, we are like 3,000 actually. And we are like 200 and something, like you saw. When we branded the product and we launched it in April, we then grew to 10,000 as at end of June. And we also doubled our active user base to 442, like you saw. So now we're like, okay, what do we need to do to even further increase our active user base? Now, we know that by default, our sign-ups will always increase, like it's always increasing. But like, how do we ensure that every day they are transactions going to the platform? So we then had to, look clearly at our marketing again and look clearly at what people are doing on the platform. So we did something where we wanted to understand the user behavior, right? And we're like, what are they coming to put their money for, right? Are they just coming because they want to own a piece of real estate? Or are they coming because they have a financial goal on it in mind, right? Or are they coming because they want to grow their personal finance? And we realized that people were coming for personal reasons, such as they want to study for their masters and they want to put their money away. They want to, grow their personal finance. They're putting their money away from their income. Then we said, okay, cool. Looks like we maybe have been going to the content in the wrong way before. Let's see how we can then readdress our marketing content, right, and focus more on the utility of Kevo. So is there anything that just like draws them back? So having to understand where they go to more and how can we also just like redirect their focus is one of the things we've also implemented in the past 1 month. Right now, we're focusing on how do we redirect our content to ensure that it's focusing on the utility of Kevu. That's number one. And number two, how do we also really involve data to see how we can further improve and grow user interest on the platform? And another thing again we also noticed is besides what we are offering, can we also provide more offerings? So we also realize that people will probably want to see, so because the way it is right now is what you say, if a share of real estate you exit after like, in a short term and a long term, as I said, long term could be 13 months, short term could be 7 months, 3 months. That's more like a fixed income investment approach right now. We're like, okay, can we also provide two other investment options? Let's say rental income and capital appreciation is one, and the other one that also constitutes like a bond type of real estate investment. It's just us being very creative and innovative about our investment offerings, right? So we've also realized that people like to earn money monthly, right? So if we also provide other options that pays them monthly dividend, it could be something that will also even increase our active user base. The first thing is how do we double down on the utility of cable? Right, that's like the first thing because we just noticed it as how do we also provide more options for people beyond what we already have, still within our ecosystem. So beyond just people, investing for short term and getting long term, but can they also earn monthly dividend? Can we also have an option where if you're investing today, in the next 1 month, for the period of time that your funds will be on the platform, in a particular asset, the asset is paying you every month, increasing our product offering, by also providing options where users can earn monthly dividends And the third one is working with data to understand user behavior on the platform and also see how we can also create some level of stickiness. So for us is, can we grow revenue by like an extra 10K this quarter? That's one. And number two is, can we also grow our active user base by 10%, minimum of 10% of our total users, right? Basically focusing more on marketing and product are the two main ways that we're looking at doing it. Product utility and just like creating content around that area, and even our communications, emails and everything, focusing more on the utility in marketing. The second one is improving product offerings as in the product angle as well. In terms of technology updates, it's really going well. We're making good progress on that end as well. We've been able to upgrade the product last quarter, and also working on a couple of iterations as quick as possible. So which takes us back to what are people doing most on the platform, what do customers want to see, that also further increase our investment deposit and even active users. So we're currently iterating based on customer feedback, user behavior that we're also observing, and also introducing some new features that also increase investment deposit. Yeah, the interesting thing is that we have a couple of people, companies as well, that are showing interest. So basically provide them with fractional related investment opportunities. So they more like embed our API into their product and also allow their users to also, access fractional related opportunities as well. I mean, we work with like the real estate developers, different regions, US and UK, and also in Nigeria as well. And so far, we've been able to onboard on the platform 26 properties. We've invested in 26 properties, six real estate developers. We, of course, are co-financier in the project. We don't bring the whole money. So the real estate developers were like a syndicate fund, right? So that's like the way they look at, they find us interesting. Like, okay, you guys are funding for people to put money together. Yeah. So it's more like a syndicate fund. So we co-invest alongside other financiers that we also talk to. We don't like invest 100%. So it could be like, oh, this deal is looking interesting. Let's assume Chase Bank is coming on board, Citibank is coming on board. They probably are looking out for more financiers, and like, oh, Cable is also there coming on board. Because Cable is more like, a just a full fund from a group of investors and invest in the asset. So we work with like other financiers to come to the asset. We don't go in alone. So for project that we've been doing, it's basically based on capital appreciation. The two kind of assets we're basically focusing on is rental yields and capital appreciation. If for to rate it, we could see like 60% putting in short term, but putting like, let's say, 10, 20, 30, $40. But people that are putting in 12 months, which is long term, are putting like 100, 200, $300, which is 40%. So 60, 40, 60 goes to short term, put like a lower fund, and the 40 goes to, long term, put higher fund. And that is like an interesting thing we've noticed. And that have also given us the idea of, okay, can we also provide an option maybe if people are earning monthly dividend as well, aside just waiting for a period of time to get their money back. That is something that we're hoping that once we push out this quarter, will also help us understand more of how people are using the platform. If you look at the model, look at the numbers, look at what you're looking at right now, you're seeing that the growth is there. The growth is there, the demand is there. People might want to be taking their time. If it's an early product, people are also trying to, also acquaint themselves. But the interesting thing is that people also love the product as well. We have good retention rates. People, even when they get their money back, they want to invest again. Like, all those things are fine. We looked at the business model. I'm my co-founder, Susan Maria. We had to go back to the drawing board to say, okay, what do we need to do to actually grow revenue? Started talking. We then went back and started talking to the related developers and saying that, okay, is there anything that is missing or we are not seeing in this model that we need to, an opportunity that is just lying there down, we need to harness. So one of the things that we noticed, three fundamental problems after speaking to real estate developers: lack of material financing, lack of transparency, and number three is data. I'll break it down. In the aspect of lack of material financing, what we do is we provide capital for real estate developers, right? The inflation in Africa is really growing, and it's really affecting the real estate space. So what they do in situations like that is they would either have to pause the project, go look for that extra funds, come back, continue the project after a while, and then hike the price of the property just to ensure that they drive more sales and also make profit. Even the financiers have committed to the project from the old BOQ, the old budgeting, everybody will have to go and make enough money to buy more material. And we then realized that lack of material financing is a fundamental problem that is really affecting real estate developers in our space, right? And we as Kebo, what we've done is we provide them capital, but we've come from the equity approach all the while. And now we're thinking that how about if we go through the debt approach and figure out a way to solve this material financing problem? And now, once we've solved this material financing problem, we're also providing them with the operating system for them to manage a construction project. One fundamental problem which we have experienced as financiers is that we don't get to see end to end what is currently going on in the project. We don't know how they spend the money. We don't know what's going on day-to-day expenses. We don't know how the project is even going, like, day to day or month to month. We just take report based on what the real estate developer just gives. So there is no clear-cut transparency to say that, oh, this is what's currently going on in the project, right, in real time, which is also another problem. Because at the end of the day, you just take the Baba report and that's it. Then the third problem, right, was after the lack of material financing, after the lack of transparency in terms of project, the third thing again is data, which is really fundamental in our industry. Is real estate developers basically construct development projects based on ESC and trends. We don't have accurate data to show them that this is where you should build, this is where it's performing more in this season, and this type of property you should be looking at building. If you look at another western part of the world, real estate developers and financiers in those markets work with data to make informed decisions. But here we don't have data, it's just more on trends and ESC. When we then look at these three fundamental problems, we realize that so far we've just been scratching the surface of one out of these three problems, which is in the part of material, in part of capital, that's what we're operating, but we come from the equity route. And now we're thinking, how can we drive more impact by also leveraging credit facilities and even solving the pain point of the material financing they're having. So these real estate developers don't have to pause or slow down their project, but they can access capital, they can access credit for their materials, they can construct, you can deliver their project on time, drive sales, save money, and even make more profit. And in doing that, we're also giving them an operating system that allows them manage the end-to-end of their construction project. And this way, even provide transparency to the financiers as well. Now, what these two things will do is, as many developers, as many projects that we can have on the platform, driving sales, making revenue, doing everything end-to-end, accessing credit, we can then even pull data from them, from those in the next future, and say, out of 10,000 projects that have been going on the platform, we can then say that likely as of Q4 2023 is going up by 90%. Properties in those areas are being performed by XYZ, and these are the type of properties we build in these kind of areas. Break it down, break the data more, and even provide more data for all these guys, right? What this has done is we are not only giving developers access to capital finance, but by empowering them with finance and tools and data towards building the future cities and communities that will literally have in the near future, right? So we then looked at it and like, okay, this would probably be an interesting problem to further double down on. And we are then looking at it, okay, how do we now make Kebo a more focused B2B centered business, right? Where the fractional side of it is just like part of it, right? But an ecosystem of products that a user developer will have to depend on to drive this project, going beyond just Nigeria to Africa to the world. The interesting thing is that we already built a network of developers in Africa, even the US and UK market. So we can take this product and even scale it beyond just Africa to US and UK. It will be good to start, even entering the market, understanding, the material supply chain side of things and how it can, because that's like a major pain point, you know, solve the pain kick, give them painkillers before even coming about before giving them vitamins, which is the old OS and all of those things. So we're like, okay, you know what? Let's engage our investors. Let's tell them how we're thinking about taking the business from where it is right now to how we're looking at it being in the next future, right? And how we're thinking around, adjusting the business model. So everybody knows, okay, this is where we're going. Okay, and if our investors also have concerns, or if they have questions, or if they have something that we can also think about, is something that we can think about, and if we also need any further help from them to make it possible. So for us, it's more like just like advancing our solution, right? Beyond just capital to other things as well, right? So that's basically it. And it's really great to hear your thoughts and also thought of the team. Okay. I'm not. I Bumi is fantastic, really fantastic, and Ruby is awesome. Bumi is fantastic. Bumi is fantastic, and Ruby is awesome. Okay. The biggest lesson I've had, the biggest lesson or learning, right? To be very open-minded and flexible. Be very open-minded and flexible, which is one, and build good relationship with your investors, right? Like it goes a long way beyond just the capital they've given you, right? Like you need to see your investors like as a teammate or a team member, right? Because as much as they're not running with you, full time, they also co-building with you. So that is another learning that those very two learnings that are very instrumental towards the growth of cable, and is the reason why all our investors have been awesome. Like we've not had any problem at all. Like when I look at my cap table, I'm really grateful the kind of investors that we have, because that relationship, that communication, that open-mindedness has literally helped us to even see things more on the bright side. I would say two things: be very open-minded and flexible, and number two is build good communication relationship with your investors, because you never can know, especially in times like this, right? Where you need your investor close. I mean, I don't say this enough, but I would say startup founders should keep their investors close in this season. One strong tip to handle mistakes. So don't see mistakes or failure as the end. And that is one thing I've learned in this current season, funding raising season. Figure out how you can use, mistakes or failures to your advantage, because it can just open the door to like the next big opportunity. I think that's like one of the greatest tips, learn how to just figure out how to use failures or mistakes to your advantage, um, and just there's just the end of the world here.